sparkles. The Hadzabe, or Hadza, people of Tanzania speak a unique and ancient language that includes clicking consonants, making it one of the most distinct and rare forms of spoken communication in the world. These clicking sounds are not just stylistic, they are actual phonemes, meaning they function like regular letters or syllables in their language. The Hadza language includes a range of click sounds, such as dental clicks, like tisk-tisk. Lateral clicks, similar to the sound you make to urge a horse forward. Alveolar clicks, sharp tongue pops made at the roof of the mouth. These clicks often appear within names, everyday speech, storytelling, and even during hunting, where communication must be silent yet clear. It's an intricate system that non-speakers find very hard to imitate, let alone understand. Speech balloon example. A Hadzabe person's name might contain a click sound that isn't written in English. It's a sound, not a letter. For example, Zany or Oma, note, the symbols like or represent different types of clicks. Globe showing Europe-Africa linguistic significance. The Hadza language is considered a linguistic isolate, meaning it's not closely related to any other known language family. It is spoken by fewer than 1,500 people, making it endangered but incredibly important in the study of human language origins. The use of clicks places the Hadza language among a very small group in Africa, including Khoisan languages found mostly in southern Africa. Brain cultural insight. To the Hadza, these names and sounds are not just labels, they carry identity, ancestral meaning, and sometimes environmental or spiritual connections. Learning to pronounce them properly is a sign of deep respect for their culture. White heavy checkmark summary. Hadzabe names with clicking sounds are a powerful reminder of human diversity. They reflect thousands of years of oral tradition, survival, and a way of living that remains deeply connected to nature and identity. Clicking sounds in Hadzabe names, a rare language tradition. Deep in the savannas and woodlands around Lake Eyasi in northern Tanzania, the Hadzabe, or Hadza, tribe lives as one of the last true hunter-gatherer societies on Earth. Their way of life has remained largely unchanged for thousands of years, and at the heart of their culture is a unique and ancient language, marked by something extraordinary, clicking sounds. These clicks aren't casual noises or expressions. They are real, meaningful components of the Hadza language, used not just in speech but within names themselves, making Hadzabe personal names some of the most unique and difficult to pronounce in the world for outsiders. Speaking head. What are clicking sounds? In phonetics, clicks are nonpulmonic consonants. That means they're not made by pushing air out of the lungs like most sounds, but by creating a vacuum in the mouth and releasing it. You may recognize some of them from casual sounds you make in daily life. Dental click, similar to tisk-tisk, disapproval sound. Lateral click, like urging a horse to move, tisk-tsk, but more side tongue. Alveolar click. A sharp pop made with the tongue against the roof of the mouth. Palatal click, a more complex, tongue-curling sound. These clicks are fully integrated into words and names, not added for emphasis or rhythm. That means a name like Ghana or Zoni includes click consonants as essential building blocks, just as English names have vowels and consonants. A linguistic mystery. The Hadza language is one of the most enigmatic and isolated on Earth. It's classified as a language isolate, which means it has no confirmed relation to any other language family. Though it shares the use of click sounds with Khoisan languages, mainly found in southern Africa, linguistic studies have shown that Hadza developed its click-based system independently. This has fascinated researchers and anthropologists for decades. The fact that the Hadzabe language has survived millennia without writing, and that it's only spoken by around 1,200 to 1,500 people, makes it a living linguistic fossil, a window into early human speech patterns. Names with clicks, identity through sound. In Hadza culture, names are deeply tied to identity, environment, and ancestry. Many Hadzabe names are impossible to write accurately in the Roman alphabet because of these clicks, which means their true pronunciation can only be learned by hearing and mimicking it from native speakers. For example, a man's name might be Kuda, with an alveolar click at the beginning. A woman's name might be Noma, starting with a lateral click. These are not nicknames or special terms, they are formal, everyday names used in introductions, storytelling, and ceremonies. To a Hadza person, these sounds are second nature, but for outsiders, they require careful listening, practice, and respect. Mispronouncing a click in a name can change its meaning entirely, or make it incomprehensible. Why it matters. Preserving the Hadzabe language and its clicking names is not just a matter of academic interest, it's a vital part of protecting indigenous identity, cultural sovereignty, and human linguistic heritage. In a world where thousands of languages are going extinct due to globalization and assimilation, the Hadzabe language stands as a symbol of resilience and continuity. Their click-based names and spoken traditions represent an unbroken line to some of the earliest human communication systems. A living link to our origins. Some anthropologists believe that click languages like Hadzabe may be among the oldest spoken languages on Earth, potentially dating back to the time of the first modern humans in East Africa. That makes every name, every conversation, and every Hadzabe story told in their native language a living echo of our human roots. Dental click, similar to tisk tisk, disapproval sound. Lateral click, like urging a horse to move, tisk tsk, but more side tongue. Alveolar click. A sharp pop made with the tongue against the roof of the mouth. Palatal click, a more complex, tongue-curling sound. These clicks are fully integrated into words and names, not added for emphasis or rhythm. That means a name like Ghana or Zoni includes click consonants as essential building blocks, just as English names have vowels and consonants. A linguistic mystery. The Hadza language is one of the most enigmatic and isolated on Earth. It's classified as a language isolate, which means it has no confirmed relation to any other language family. Though it shares the use of click sounds with Khoisan languages, mainly found in southern Africa, linguistic studies have shown that Hadza developed its click-based system independently. This has fascinated researchers and anthropologists for decades. The fact that the Hadzabe language has survived millennia without writing, and that it's only spoken by around 1,200 to 1,500 people, makes it a living linguistic fossil, a window into early human speech patterns. Names with clicks, identity through sound. In Hadza culture, names are deeply tied to identity, environment, and ancestry. Many Hadzabe names are impossible to write accurately in the Roman alphabet because of these clicks, which means their true pronunciation can only be learned by hearing and mimicking it from native speakers. For example, a man's name might be Kuda, with an alveolar click at the beginning. A woman's name might be Noma, starting with a lateral click. These are not nicknames or special terms, they are formal, everyday names used in introductions, storytelling, and ceremonies. To a Hadza person, these sounds are second nature, but for outsiders, they require careful listening, practice, and respect. Mispronouncing a click in a name can change its meaning entirely, or make it incomprehensible. Why it matters.
Gathered, and listened to the world before the world became so noisy. History, for a long time, was told from the top down. Kings, generals, conquerors. Maps redrawn. Empires made and unmade. Battles with dates. Treaties with clauses. Crowns and swords. But that's not the only way time passed. People are hungry now for something else. A history that lives lower to the ground. Closer to the soil. Not the story of who ruled, but how people lived. What they ate. Where they slept. How they raised children. How they waited out the rain. How they gathered roots when no fruit would grow. How they healed. How they carried grief, and how they passed joy along in stories around the fire. Let's begin where history is often quietest. With the indigenous peoples whose voices were left out of the official records. Not because they didn't have stories, but because they didn't write them down in books or carve them in stone for kings. They stored them in the rhythm of seasons. In the smell of wild honey. In the position of stars. In the ways you speak to elders, or don't speak at all. The Hadzabe of East Africa, for example, have lived much the same way for thousands of years. Their days begin when the birds begin, and they don't count time in hours. They hunt not with guns, but with bows made from the branches they cut, shaped, and strung by hand. They listen more than they talk. They eat together. They laugh, too, at things so small they wouldn't be noticed in a city. A missed arrow. A stubborn tree. A child mimicking a baboon's call. They have no chief. No calendar. No currency. And yet, they have survived. Not by conquering, but by adapting. Watching. Waiting. Remembering. And it's not just Africa. In the highlands of Andean South America, women wove cloth with patterns that told stories. In Southeast Asia, rice paddies reflected the sky, and with every harvest, traditions passed through fingers and feet more than words. In Australia, Aboriginal songlines stitched together the land like invisible maps, guiding people across space through melody, rhythm, and memory. So often we hear about wars and inventions. But what about water jars? Cooking stones? Midwives? What about the everyday? There's a quiet longing, now, in our restless modern world, for those histories. The ones that show not how power was won, but how life was sustained. How women moved in the shadows of palaces. How communities thrived without money or roads or machines. These aren't the loud stories. They won't keep you up. In fact, they do the opposite. They slow your thoughts. They invite your breath to match a slower rhythm. The rhythm of gathering wood at dusk, or chewing tubers under a tree while someone tells a story.
Wow!
kitchen was alive with clinks, sizzles, and bursts of laughter. Chaba stood over the stove, stirring a pot of fragrant stew so rich that even the curtains seemed to lean in for a sniff. Dudukwi danced between the counter and the oven, wielding a wooden spoon like a conductor's baton. Imor was busy at the chopping board, sending perfect slices of carrots and peppers into the air with a flourish, while Jock kept sneaking little tastes, only to get caught and scolded with mock sternness. "Hey, save some for the rest of us." Chaba laughed, handing Jock a piece of warm bread anyway. Dudukwi sprinkled herbs into the stew, the fresh scent of basil and thyme filling the room. They worked in a happy rhythm, passing spices, telling stories, and breaking into spontaneous song. Every dish was a masterpiece in the making, a golden roast shimmering in the oven, a colorful salad bursting with freshness, and the slow-cooked stew bubbling like a promise of warmth. By the time the table was set, it wasn't just dinner, it was a celebration of friendship, flavor, and the kind of joy you could taste with every bite. The evening began with a burst of laughter before the first onion was even peeled. Chaba, wearing an apron that said "Queen of the Kitchen" in faded gold letters, clutched a wooden spoon like a royal scepter. Dudukwi was already swaying to the beat of the radio, humming an old tune as he set a basket of vegetables on the counter. Tonight, Dudukwi declared, "We are not just making dinner, we are making history." Imor raised an eyebrow. "History that smells like garlic, I hope." "Garlic, joy, and just a little bit of chaos," Jock added, already sneaking a grape tomato from the bowl. The kitchen quickly became a stage. Chaba chopped onions with the precision of a surgeon, though she kept having to pause to wipe tears from her eyes, half from the onions, half from the ridiculous jokes Dudukwi was telling. Imor, ever the perfectionist, arranged sliced peppers into neat rainbow-colored piles, while Jock decided the cheese platter needed sampling, for safety reasons. The stew was the crown jewel. Chaba stirred it slowly, letting the rich aroma of cumin and paprika fill every corner of the room. Dudukwi, pretending to be a food critic,
The Night
would lean
Fire
over
was
and
born, extended sleeping story. Perfect for a bedtime tale filled with wonder, peace, and ancestral comfort. The Night Fire was born. Before the first footprints were etched into soft soil. Before names clung to rivers or trees, before stars had meanings, before time had a voice. There was only the wild. A world vast and breathing. A world without kings, borders, or noise. Where the wind roamed free and nameless through the tall grasses, and the night had no edges. Where animals moved with confidence, and humans, still new, still learning, moved like whispers among giants. They had no homes. No roof but the sky, no walls but trees. Their days were full of movement. Their nights were full of questions. They followed the herds, the rains, the blooming of berries and the migration of birds. They drank from cold rivers and ate what the land gave. Their eyes were sharp. Their ears were sharper. But at night, they were small. As the sun sank low, long shadows crawled across the land like fingers. The blue sky deepened into velvet, and the air grew cold and close. The people gathered together, bones aching from walking, bellies half full, children drowsy in their arms. They curled close, shoulder to shoulder, heartbeat to heartbeat, trying to hold in warmth as the stars bloomed above. There was no comfort then but each other. No protection but presence. No glow to drive back the dark. Only silence, breath, and the long hush of night creatures waking. They listened. To the rustle of something unseen. To the distant calls of hunting beasts. To the winds that moved like spirits through trees. And inside their chests, the question flickered again. How do we survive this night? Then one night, far away in what we now call Africa, under a sky heavy with stars, something ancient stirred. A mistake. Or maybe not. Two stones, held in two curious hands, struck together. A spark jumped. So small, it could have been missed. But it wasn't. It landed in dry grass. A pause. A shimmer. Then, a breath of flame.
Clicking sounds in
Tiny.
Hadzabe names, a
Golden.
rare language tradition speaking head sparkles. The Hadzabe, or Hadza, people of Tanzania speak a unique and ancient language that includes clicking consonants, making it one of the most distinct and rare forms
Hunting
of
and
spoken
harmony.
communication
How the
in the
Hadza
world.
tribe
Hunts, cooks, and shares a baboon meal. Deep in the wild savannas of Tanzania, the Hadza tribe, one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer societies on Earth, continues to live in close harmony with nature. Among the many animals they hunt for survival, baboon is one of the most challenging and respected catches. The hunt begins early, often just after sunrise. The Hadza men move silently through the bush, armed with handcrafted bows and poisoned arrows made from local plants like the desert rose. Tracking baboons is no easy task. They're fast, smart, and travel in groups. It requires deep knowledge of the land, wind direction, animal behavior, and absolute patience. When a baboon is successfully hunted, the group carries it back to their camp. What follows is not just a meal, it's a communal ritual. The animal is first singed over an open fire to remove the fur, then carefully butchered. Every part of the animal is used. The meat is roasted or stewed, sometimes with roots, wild herbs, or honey if available. As the baboon cooks over hot coals, the smell draws children and elders around the fire. When it's ready, everyone eats together. For the Hadza, food isn't just about sustenance, it's about sharing. There are no individual plates. Everyone takes what they need, and everyone is equal. This way of life, while simple, reflects something powerful: respect for nature, deep knowledge of survival, and a sense of community that modern life often forgets. To outsiders, the idea of hunting and eating baboon might seem shocking, but for the Hadza, it's part of a sustainable tradition that has lasted for tens of thousands of years.
Da da da